Target Trading Academy.
Good afternoon, everybody. Preston Vogl here at Target Trading Academy with today's market recap. It is not quite the close yet here at Target Trading Academy. It's a good 30 minutes plus till we close. But with that said, oil and gold are closed, and where we are in our equities, we're good enough to go ahead and make this video because we'll get right to it. So let's just start off right to oil. Oil opened inside the range, the lower range from yesterday. And remember, it is in rollover, meaning we have split participation between the August contract and the September. That's looks like a G. That's an S. September contract. So we have these two active pools, and as such, you're gonna have split volume. Granted, you can have people trading in both of them at the same time, but it's not recommended to do so if you're, just more of a speculator investor, where you're just trading to make a profit and you're not hedging your commodities and such. But with that said, as such, we don't recommend trading live because the market does get a lot thinner per se. So we did open up inside that range from yesterday, right around that close, to be honest. Had an initial response off that range low, hit that inverse for a short, and then we hit that range low again from the day prior, and we just bounced off, and we didn't look back. So buyers took control. We got outside that range, and we just trended up higher. Had several more opportunities to look for entries there, but needless to say, we are finishing net positive on the day in oil. And then gold. Gold's an interesting one. We opened gap up in gold. Remember, yesterday was a pretty decent day. The day before that, on Monday, it was ugly. But gold opened gap up, had some news come out. We shot up, responded off that HVA edge, came down, had some response off that smaller HVA, and then it got driven up once more, challenging those highs, and then we challenged the lows. And it was this point here that was pretty crucial because they had failed to get into the range from yesterday here to get back to their close from the day prior. And so here we needed to see if they were going to accept or reject this edge yet again. So this was the clinch point or the focal point of what we were looking at. You can clearly see that they rejected going lower. And then once they made it up here, they just kept coming and they just finished off making new highs. And they hit that prior high from the 9th of June that we haven't been there since until now. And then they responded off that, ultimately having a little bit of retracement down. So that was some solid resistance that was put in on the 9th of June that we haven't seen until today. So with that said, we are finishing positive in gold. Now our equities, they're not closed yet, but we're going over them right now because of where we are. So we opened inside of that range from yesterday in our equities, practically at that close. We had some initial back and forth, which is very common. Usually it's very volatile that first 30 minutes. But then it started getting really directional. We had some response off the HVA. And then we started losing the resistance values. They weren't responding off them, which is a good sign of buying, meaning that there's a ton of buying pressure. So we finally made it up, went sideways for a bit. And then when we came down to a level of support, what did we see? Those same buyers that blew through those edges stepped in yet again and again and again and again. And you'll see that there's no HVAs above here. And that's because we've gotten above that contract high. So unless we get, and I'm not going to swear, but I want to, a boatload of participation or volatility, whatever you want to call it, to drive this back down, we are going to be finishing net positive on the day. So we've already put in new contract highs. We continually did that throughout the day. And that goes for both our markets that we have up here, both the micro ES and both the micro NASDAQ, and especially where we opened up from that day prior. We practically opened at that close in the NAS as well. So if you just scroll this back, or I guess I will, because you can't control it, we opened up relatively close to the close. Didn't get it right away. We actually went south instead of north to get it, but we actually finally got it after that good hours-long battle, because it initially did look like we were going to start trending down in the NASDAQ, but it wasn't sustained, and they just couldn't keep that momentum going down. So buyers did step in, and they had a lot of progress a work to be made up to get over this contract high. So we did eventually get over it, and then lunchtime came, and drove us up even higher. And then when we got back, we were still in white space. So with that said, we are finishing positive on the day. And like I said, we're going to need a lot of participation or very thin market with someone wanting to be really low and no one wanting to be higher to bring down these values to a point where we would be closing net negative. So we are going to be closing positive, it looks like, in our equities, positive in gold and positive in oil. So it's just a trending day today, except for the British pound. I mean, it technically was trending down. So I guess all markets were trending that we watch in our rooms. Um, but it was a pretty good day. Plenty of reversals, inverses, and then lots of potential trending entries to be taken as well. So a relatively good day for a slower market per se in terms of volume and what we see on a daily average. With that said, if you are interested in learning more about these levels and the methodology that we teach in the room, feel free to reach out to us. We are Target Trading Academy. You can find us on Facebook or go to our website at targettrading.co. That's .co. And then reach out to a consultant at either of those locations, and they'll gladly show you what we do in our rooms each and every day. Look forward to seeing you there.